Hello everyone, I am Abhilash Bandari, professionally an actor from Telugu film industry and ISB's PGP round 2 admit of class of 2025. So I'll take you through my profile first. I was graduated from ICFI Business School in the year 2017, post which I worked with Dell for about 4 years in financial services, and in 2021 I transitioned myself into film industry as an actor. So it's already been 3 years as an actor now. So in this journey, I have developed an interest in the business of cinema and like core business of cinema, and I had a dream of setting up my own production studio. But for this to happen, I needed some platform where I need to work in some media industry first, learn those skills, and this will eventually lay a foundation for my production house later. But for this, the platform which was needed was an MBA. So that's how MBA came into picture. But again, I had a conflict of not going out of India, and I wanted to pursue it in India itself. So that's when my research has started as to what all colleges do accept students like me. I mean, having this kind of diversity in my profile. So I did get to know with my constant interactions with alums and with a few of my friends who were passed out and who are the current students. So they have encouraged me to apply for ISB, but eventually that couldn't happen in round one. So I thought of applying in round two. So I just had like 30 days of time for my round two deadline, and that's when I've started my work. So initially I was scared that is 30 days really enough to uh, start your application and submit it. And that's when my research has started, and I did speak to a lot of people, a lot of consultants and all. But again, I was not that confident. But that's when one of my friend has given me a contact of Manan from Strategy for GMAT, and she asked me to have a call with him. So that was my last call. I felt like this was my last call, and I'm gonna take a go with someone whom I'm confident and comfortable with. So around 9:30, I had a call with Manan. It was more like a profile assessment and a brainstorming call. And by the time I ended the call, I was so confident that he's my go-to person, and Strategy for GMAT is my go-to org. And so we have started immediately, and I had my profile assessment done, I had my strategy call, I had my brainstorming call with Manan, and he made me understand the pros and cons in my profile, and this can be your strengths, these can be your weaknesses, this can be your failure, this can be your success, because majorly this year the essays were based on strengths, weaknesses, failures and success. So in the first draft that I was writing this, when I was writing the essays, I was majorly focusing on my career aspects and achievements in strengths, and whatever I have not achieved as my weakness or failure. So this kind of thing. I mean, I was not satisfied at all. But when Manan read it, and he made me understand that, he made me come up with a story of my own personal journey. So that's when I have understood that the strength can be something of your personal journey as well. So that's something happened in your personal life, and that has shaped you to a person what you are today. So that's how with like constant interactions for about 15-20 days, we came up with a beautiful story. And now the challenge was to bring it down to 400 words, because that was required. So again, Abhishek was involved in this, and he was doing the proofreading sessions, and he made me understand, okay, what exactly needs to be kept and what needs to be removed, because that was not necessary in the application. So that's how we have completed the essay part in the starting with the constant support of Manan and Abhishek. And secondly comes the application, because application is something Manan was constantly telling me that I need to be thorough with my application, and I need to mention something that correlates with the essays especially. So I did pick top 5 achievements, I did pick top 5 extracurriculars, top 5 hobbies and whatever I have done in my life, and we have filled in the application. And Manan was Manan was my primary mentor, he has done a proofreading of my application. And when he said that, okay fine, this is good to go, so that's when we have submitted. And I don't think I could have done this by my own without their support, because uh, the time when I started this process, and by the time I've submitted this application, I was completely a different person. I mean, the thought process has changed. So, for that, I'm really thankful to Strategy for GMAT for giving me that constant support whenever required. I had like multiple calls. I mean, I did call him around 10 o'clock. I did call him around 8 o'clock in the morning to ask him that, okay, this is what I'm doing and these are the changes that are required. And after submitting the application, I did tell Manan that, do you think that I'm going to get an interview call? So he said that, yes, buddy, I'm pretty confident that you are going to get it. But somehow I was not that confident enough. But, he was pushing me. He was constantly telling me that, just be positive, stay calm. You will be getting it for sure. So, as soon as we have submitted the application, we started our interview prep as well, because Manan was so confident about my profile that you are going to get an interview call. So we started our interview prep, where three of the alums were assigned to me for my mock interviews, and I had my training sessions with Manan again, who was my primary mentor. So all three mock interviews were different from one another, because my first interview has focused on majority of my personal skills. I mean, like, tell something about yourself, tell something about which is not in your application, and majority of these kind of things. My second mock interview was completely based on my goals and what I'm going to bring to the organization, what I'm going to bring to the classroom and the cohort, and how I'm going to indulge with this program. Can I cope up with this program, kind of things. And my third mock was majorly focusing on my numbers. I mean, get the guesstimates, the profit and loss statement, and what kind of distributions. And if, for example, if a movie got released, so how do you calculate the P&Ls and all. So after the end of each mock interview, they have given me a feedback that was required, and that has actually made me prepare for the interview. And in between that, I had like multiple training sessions with Manan, where after every interview, he was sent a rating and a review of my interview performance, and accordingly he used to talk to me, he used to brainstorm me, he used to train me as to how this answer needs to be correlated, how this answer needs to be put in front of the interview. So I did get a call, and I had like 7 to 8 days for my interview, and even in that time, I know how anxious I was, and I used to constantly tell him that, I'm really anxious, I don't know how I'm going to answer in front of them. But he was so confident that, just answer what is just asked. I mean, beyond this, they are not going to ask you anything else. And exactly on the day of interview when I went, I was a little nervous, but honestly, I'm telling you, it was the most conversational interview I've ever had. And it was completely conversational. They have asked me a couple of like 10 to 15 questions maybe, because few of them were like counter questions that were asked. But eventually, whatever was asked in the interview was not beyond what was trained and what was in my mock interviews only. So, I was like prepared throughout my, whatever was written in my application, essays. I mean, it was just roaming around them. I mean, it was not something out of the box, and it was not a rocket science also. So this is where I'll give all the credits to Manan, because he made me understand what is required, what were my goals, and how to correlate them, how to compile my essays, how my application needs to be correlated with the essays, and how beautifully it can be portrayed in front of the committee. And really hats off to the entire team of Strategy for GMAT for training me, for mentoring me, and for supporting and helping me throughout this journey. And one last thing, again, this is something I've really learned from Manan again, that it's not over until it's really over. Seriously, I mean, you need to have a lot of patience, you need to trust yourself, you need to have that patience, because since the time I started working on this application, and by the time I got my result, it was close to 4 months. And even in this 4 months, I did lose a lot of confidence. I myself was so anxious, but Manan always told me that, buddy, just chill. You are going to get it. If not this, then you are going to achieve something. So this kind of positivity is really required. And, I strongly recommend to all the MBA aspirants going forward, and to just contact Strategy for GMAT, get your profile assessment done, get your brainstorming session done, and, start your journey with Strategy for GMAT. And I'm sure that you are going to get in your dream B schools. That is for sure.